With its lower relative inflation, growing scarcity, and steady DeFi volume, isn't ETH becoming a better store of value over Bitcoin? Brilliant question. And everybody's talking about, oh, well, the new merge. Is it a new asset? How much will it yield, etc.? So let's talk about some of the elements of Ethereum as a store of value. First of all, one of the tiny concerns, you can see the total supply is 122 million, and there's no max supply. So we don't know where that's going to go over time. And as we move to proof of stake, people can maybe increase the amount of supply that's there. And the big question is it going to be deflationary? And that's the question we always ask. So when it came to 1559 last year, it did not live up to expectations. We only had 7 deflationary days over the past, 15 months, I think, since the IP 1559 launched. I can't remember exactly at this stage, but that was disappointing. People thought it would be deflationary. Now, when we compare this to Bitcoin as a store of value, I still believe Bitcoin is the hardest asset on earth, and its supply is utterly predictable. Ethereum supply, max supply, not necessarily. Here you see the max supply for Bitcoin, 21 million. All of those will not be mined until the year 2140. In fact, I think it takes something like 40 years to mine the last Bitcoin or something crazy like that. So that's an indication of where, if the laws of supply and demand work, we'll talk more about those as well later, then we know the price of Bitcoin is going to go up. So the question is, what's harder? So there are a couple of things. It's kind of a weird question. So when we go to Bitcoin, again, not only is it hard and the supply is dictated, but also I believe it's deflationary because people lose their coins. People go swimming, lose their keys, forget their seeds, transfer to an empty hole, yada, yada, yada. So as you all know, if you listen to this channel, we believe there'll never be more than, at this stage, about 13.8 million Bitcoin available because of Mircea Popescu, Satoshi lockup, additional lost coins to date, etc. Again, that's slightly out of date, but it should be pretty much correct. Again, 14 million is the max amount of Bitcoin that'll ever exist. So it is super hard. Now, why I hold ETH? And this goes back to your question. So I do believe it's worth holding for the following reasons. One, ETH staking could offer a 10 to 15% yield. I'll believe the 15% when I see it. I think it'll be more like 5.5 to 7. But we'll see. A lot of people are talking about 10 to 15% yield annually for stakeholders. Second, it is an enticing bond alternative for institutional investors. So for the first time ever, we could get a lot of institutional money. People that historically invested in things like gold and bonds could come into this space. And this would be a huge money flow. Ethereum also powers DeFi. And also there's no regulatory risk, as we heard from Gary Gensler for the umpteenth time last week. There's also no ESG FUD because of moving to proof of stake and will burn no energy or very little. And finally, the reduced ETH issuance and increased burns will systematically reduce Ethereum supply. So nothing but goodness on that front. And therefore, I think, yes, it could be definitely an interesting store of value, but there's only one Bitcoin. And remember as well, I always talk about the murderer's row of layer ones that are going to go after Ethereum. It does have a huge target on its back, and it has been targeted by some of our favorite alts. We'll talk more about altcoins as well.